Hi everybody, welcome to this webinar on Facebook. Hopefully you can hear me. Could I just ask someone to say in chat that you can hear me okay? That it all sounds all right? Brilliant. Okay, so thank you for coming along. For those that aren't here, you'll be listening to it on the recording and that will be coming out shortly. So hopefully you'll get just as much value from that. So really, I'm not the sort of person that likes to go into too much fluff on webinars. I've got quite a lot to cover, so I'm going to work through it at quite a pace. There's quite a few actionable things that you can take away to do from this. And also there's going to be some links that come out and they'll tell you a little bit more about some of the things that I mentioned, but obviously we don't have time to actually dive into all of them, but then you can go off and try those things out, try the links out if you want to. If there's any problems as we're working through, if I lose sound or anything like that, then do just put a note into chat to let me know. Okay, so why is Facebook so valuable for your business? I think we're all pretty aware that Facebook is the most popular social media platform in the world, currently anyway. It has over 1 billion users, and that figure is always increasing. And what that means is that you can be assured with Facebook is that your target market will be present on the site. With more than 1 billion active users, half of those logging in every day, whatever you sell, whether it's, products, whether it's services, whatever type of niche you're in, even if you're not selling anything, but you're writing a blog about content, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of people on there interested in what you've got to say. The key is drawing those people to you and connecting with them, because in such a big place and with such a lot of competition, it's sometimes hard to kind of wave your hand above the parapet and get noticed. So just a few key things. I'm not going to go into these in huge amounts of detail because I expect a lot of people will already be set up on Facebook. But what I do just want to cover is some key things that I want to make sure that you've already either done or to do going forward. So first of all, always create a business page. Don't try to use your profile for business. Now, saying that, you will need to be your profile when you go into groups and you interact in groups, because you can't go into groups as your page. But don't try and do a lot of business from your profile, because Facebook frowns on that, and also because a Facebook page just gives you far more options for actually marketing. It gives you call to action buttons. You can connect your other social media platforms there. You can attach your email there. You obviously a link to your website, and you can also put your newsletter sign up. So always go for the business page option. If you do have a profile that you've got a lot of people on, create the page and then invite all those people to the page, and you'll soon get, started up and running. You actually, I've just had a question about adding social media tabs to your business page. You can actually do that through something called woobox.com, woobox.com. When you go on there, there's at the top, there's marketing apps, and you just drop down to whichever one you want. They're free. You don't have to pay for these. There's Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter. If you just click on it, I think you'll have to log in and open an account, but as I say, it is free. Woobox actually does a lot of other things. It does like giveaways and stuff like that, but you don't have to have any of those. And then you can just add the tabs to your page. Okay, so the next thing I want to say is, even though you're not using your profile for a business, because people will click through from groups if they're interested in what you have to say, always add a link to the top of your page that actually goes through, sorry, a link to the top of your profile that actually goes through to your page. I'm going to leave you a video just in case anyone doesn't know how to do that. And there'll be a video that comes out with the little checklist that I'm going to send you, and it just shows you how to do that. Make sure that on your Facebook page, I'm sorry, I keep flicking backwards and forwards. We're now talking about Facebook pages. Make sure that you've claimed your Facebook web address. Sorry about that. That's where you cut it down from your normal Facebook page web address has got loads of numbers at the end. It's really awkward. You want to cut it down so it's nice and neat, and it's got your business name or your blog name or whatever you use, your own name at the end of it. And again, I'll send you a video on how to do that. There's also a call to action button at the top of the page. You can send people through to your shop. You can send them through to a video, to a newsletter sign up. There's lots of options there. Make sure that you put that in place. Now, I've seen on a few pages, it doesn't seem to be rolled out fully yet, that there's a shop section coming, and you're actually going to be able to integrate products directly onto the page, and it's going to say shop now in the banner at the top. Now, as I say, I don't know whether that's going to roll out completely. I have no idea on time frame. I've got quite a number of pages and clients' pages, and I have seen it come up on a couple, but no more than that yet. I haven't actually tried it out either, because the page it came up on, that it didn't actually have a shop, but look out for that one. Always create a keyword rich about section, so that tiny little section on the left hand side above your website URL. Make sure you've got some keywords in there. So if you're an aromatherapist in Bristol, if you're a pet sitter in Chicago, have those things in there, because that will help you get found. Obviously, add a link to your website or blog or wherever you want to send people to. This is all in the About section on the left-hand side. I am going to talk a little bit more about the much more expanded About section. We'll go into that shortly. Add your social media tabs and add a tab which includes your newsletter. I know for sure that MailChimp and Aweber have those applications. If you use one of the other newsletter mailing list providers, you'll just have to look into that. Okay, so now I just mentioned that we're going to talk about the About section. Now, this isn't the small About section on the left-hand side of your page. If you go into the About tab, you can add a much longer extended section there. And this gives you the ability to add a lot more detail about your business, and you should take advantage of this. The reason being, it can help you to get your audience to find out more about you. So a lot of people do click through if they're interested in you and your business, but also it helps you to get discovered in search, because that section is actually indexed by Google. So if you've got in there, as I said, Pet Sitter Chicago, I cover these following areas. I offer pet sitting, dog walking, cat care, rabbit care. If you put all those things in there, you're going to start to get found through Google search for that. So it is worth filling out. Now, you can even add multiple links in this section. So you could add your website, your blog, your other social media profiles, and you can even select a few key products or services if you want to in there. Just separate the URLs with commas. Now, if you run a local business, include as much information about yourself as you can. Things like your phone numbers and address. If you're a restaurant, something like that, you could even upload your menu. Because if people are looking around for places to book nearby or services to take nearby, they will often pop in there to try and find out as much info. But even if you're not a local business, add as much in there that's going to help you get found in search. Okay, I want to just talk a little bit about your cover image at the top of the page. So this is your big banner image, and you can actually do a little bit more with that than sometimes people realize, I think. So Your cover photo on your Facebook page should be used to deliver as much information about your business as you can. So there are lots of different ways to approach this. You could use maybe one photo which sums up who you are and what you offer. You could do a collage of your products or services. You could change it up quite often and have like a current offer, an event or a sale. You could put a testimonial in there. If you've got like a quite a short quote that someone said about you and your business, that can be a nice thing to appear there at the top of the page. Just read through the Facebook rules though on what you can and can't include there. I will send a link to those when I send out the checklist, simply because I'm saying this now just in case Facebook changes its rules in, a month's time. So always just make sure that you're not doing anything that you're not supposed to be. So change your cover image fairly regularly, as this allows you to showcase more things, and it also shows up in the timeline when you change it. So if you do change up your cover and say you're doing it because you've got a sale coming up, all the people that like you will see that as it comes up. Now, bearing in mind, not everybody gets shown everything that comes up in your timeline. I think it's between about 1 and 15% of people will see everything that you put out. So you've just got to try. Obviously, the more interaction, the more likes, comments, and shares you get on that, on those status updates, the more people will see them. So that's why you're always trying to encourage people to interact. But it's still worth doing because different people will see different things at different times. They'll be on there at a certain time, and they might have missed it before, or somebody else will catch it and then share it. So it's well worth doing that. Now, another thing to remember is that when someone likes your page, a large section of your cover image shows in their timeline, so their friends see it, giving you more exposure. So somebody likes your page, it appears in their timeline, their friends might see it, and if it's something that looks attractive, or it's got a testimonial, or it's an interest of theirs, they're more likely to then come over and check you out. And that's just really another reason why you want to make your cover image as appealing as possible. Now, after you've uploaded your cover photo, click on it and you will be able to edit it and add a text description. And in here, you can include something that might get them to check out your website, contact you, or sign up for your newsletter. So basically, you're adding a call to action there. So you can even add links. So you can put in the short description, if you want 20% off my Etsy store, sign up for my newsletter, and then you put a link to your newsletter. Now, you'll be surprised at how many people actually click through to those images to find out, they might want a closer look at something on there, or they might just want to find out a bit more. And so they might well see your call to action. And also when it goes out in the timeline, they'll see it at that point. So it's well worth doing that. Also, many people will hover their mouse over those cover images, and when they do that, the information that you've put into the text description will come up. So if you've put, get 20% off, please sign up for my newsletter, that will come up as you hover over it. So even if they haven't clicked on it straight away, they see that, they might then click through and, carry out your call to action. Now, some people even include a button on their header photo which says click here for whatever you're offering, and that encourages more click-throughs. So you could put, click here to get 10% off your next purchase, and then in your description you put how they get that 10% coupon. You can also use it as a space to tell people what they will, what they'll get if they like your page, free tips, coupons, giveaways. Experiment with a few different things there in the description, and then you can see what works. With anything online, you've always got to test to see what gets the most reaction. Now, the same thing's true of actually your profile picture. You can see in the image there, the profile picture is that little 180 by 180. Choose a good one that's reflective of your brand. So it could either be you or it could be your logo. and upload a larger image, so something like 640 by 640, and then Facebook scales it down. And then obviously if someone clicks through, they get to see the larger image, so that's better for you. And again, you can put another description in there in the description section, where again you can have a call to action, you could have a link to your About Me page, anything really where you want to direct people. Okay, so that's the cover image. So the next thing I want to talk about is making sure that you're promoting your Facebook page off of Facebook. So you should mention your Facebook page off of the site. So have a button for it on your website or blog, or include a link in your newsletter if you have one. You can also embed a Facebook like box in the sidebar of your blog, or even underneath blog posts. And if you've already built up quite a good amount of followers, this helps to act as social proof, because if lots of people like you, people are going to think you must be worth checking out. Also, if you do have one of those little boxes, the like box, if someone visits your site and they're logged into Facebook, their friends, if they've liked your page, will appear at the top of that like box. So it may be that they actually recognize somebody, and that again makes it more likely that they'll then click through and maybe like you on Facebook. Now, also always have a share bar underneath any blog posts so people can spread the word about you easily. So we're not talking so much about Facebook now, but if you've got, a product on your website, if you've written a blog post, always put a shareable, pinnable little box or share bar underneath, so that people can go, that was a great blog post, I want to share it on Facebook, and all they need to do is click underneath. They don't have to copy and paste the URL or anything like that. And also make sure that you cross promote your Facebook page on other sites. So mention your Facebook page on Twitter and vice versa, and Pinterest, etc., so that you're trying to get some cross promotion, because some people, you can mention it on Twitter, but some people may use Facebook more, so it's well worth them liking your Facebook too. Right, so now what I want to do is dive a little bit deeper into actually some Facebook marketing tips actually on the site itself. So the first thing, if you've got an important post on your site, perhaps you've got a sale going on or a giveaway or something that's getting a lot of attention, so a lot of people are commenting, liking, sharing, and you want to keep that momentum going for longer, pin the post to the top of your page. That image on the screen now just shows you where you can find that. So if you've got a post that you want to pin, just click in that drop down arrow top right, and there you can just pin it to the top of your page. Don't leave it there, for too long. You want to change it up quite frequently, but if there's something quite important, just do that so it gets more attention. Right, the next thing is sometimes when people like your page, what Facebook does is it sets it as a default. So, they see your posts as usual. If they're particularly keen on hearing from you, they can go to the top of your page, go to that liked section, you can see there on the image, click on that, and they can then click to see you first. Now that will make you show up in their timeline more frequently. Not for every single thing you do, but you will get visible more often. So mention that to the people on your page. Show a little screenshot. You can even take a screenshot just like that and show them what they need to do. And some people will do it, and then you'll appear with them more often. So if you've got quite a good audience that you do interact with a lot, and they're saying that they don't see your posts so often, encourage them to do that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is actually videos. So most of us upload our videos to YouTube if we've got them. But the other thing to do is actually to upload them directly to Facebook. I'm not saying don't upload them to YouTube because they get visibility that way. They show up in the search engines, etc. But Facebook will also give more visibility to videos that are uploaded directly to its own site. So just take advantage of that and upload them to both places. And because you've done that, because you've uploaded it directly, you'll get more visibility in the timeline. Now, all you need to do is to go to a status update, just the same as you would add a photo. You click on add video, you upload the video there. And again, you can go in and edit the description so you can have a call to action. I think it actually lets you put a call to action in as it's uploading it. At the end of it, it says, do you want to send somebody to a certain page? So if it was, something that you wanted someone to sign up to your newsletter, at the end, put your newsletter link and it will send them directly to that page. So it's a really good way of getting people from Facebook back to your website or your blog. Now, the other thing you can do is on your little about section on the left-hand side, you can have a video appearing above that. So it's kind of in that little block. It's only quite small, but obviously if people click on it, it will enlarge. Now, a good thing to put there is obviously an introduction to your business. It could be a little bit about the services or the products you offer. It doesn't have to be you necessarily speaking to the camera if you don't want it to be that. It could be a PowerPoint presentation, could be a screen share, it could just be you filming your products. There's lots of different options you can do there. But again, it's something to think about, and I will include a link. I've got a video showing you how to do that if you want to as well. So I'll include a link to that in the checklist. Okay, I hope I'm not rushing through too much, but on the other hand, I don't want to keep you too long. So the next thing I want to talk about is hashtags. And these can really encourage engagement on the site. So you can use ones which are trending. I don't know if any of you have seen the kind of hashtag Throwback Thursday, when you post older images of yourself or a previous blog post with evergreen content. Or you can use them to describe what you're posting on your site. So say you had a green jade bracelet, you're a handmade Etsy store owner, you can hashtag it with that. And then when somebody clicks on the hashtag, everything will come up that has been hashtagged in the same way. So all the green jade bracelets will come up. Now you might be thinking, well, why do I want to send somebody to other green jade bracelets? But the point is that you'll be appearing in that same list. So if they click on that hashtag elsewhere, your bracelet would also have a chance of showing up. Now, obviously, with some things, they're hugely popular. So there might be just so many that you don't get seen. But with other things, there aren't that many. I've done it myself where I've put, for example, jewelry or something like that, and actually only like 3 or 4 bracelets show up. So it's just a way of people finding more about you. Now, the other thing you can do is actually brand your business. So if you've got something that, your business name is quite unusual, or you're using your own name to brand your business. For example, I've got a site called Pet Hooligans. So because that's quite unusual, I can put hashtag Pet Hooligans after. I don't do it after every post, but maybe after a blog post or something that I really want to draw people's attention to. Then if they click through on that, they'll be taken to all of my other posts that I've branded in the same way with that hashtag. And it's just a way of people finding out more information from you, maybe seeing some of your other blog posts, seeing some of your other products that they might be interested in. So another thing you can do which helps to market your Facebook page is to run giveaways on Facebook. Now, there used to be rules about not being able to run any giveaways from Facebook pages. Those rules have actually been lessened, although there are still some stipulations involved. You're not allowed to ask people to like or to share the post, but you can ask them to comment. Now, as long as you don't ask them, if they naturally like it or share it out of the goodness of their hearts, then that's fine, as long as you're not being seen to ask them. You also do have to include another couple of things like the rules, how long the giveaway's running, what's the prize, what countries is it open to, and you also have to say that Facebook is not endorsing the giveaway. Now, I'll send you a link to that so you can go through and actually read the rules. They're not like, mega complicated rules like some of these things are, where you can't understand what they're actually saying. They set it out quite well, so you can just click through and make sure that you've covered all the points if you do want to run a giveaway. Now, the good thing is that you often get a lot more views to your page this way and likes to your page, because people are naturally sharing the giveaway. They're naturally commenting, so it shows up more often in the timeline. It becomes a popular status update. You get a lot of views, and that's kind of a snowball effect. The more views, comments, and shares you get, the more people that Facebook shows it to, and naturally you accrue some more likes for your page that way. So the other thing to say is to get interactive on your own page. So if someone comments or asks a question, I'm sure that you all do this, but try to answer it in a fairly timely fashion. This is especially important if it's a customer service type query, as you want to be seen to be responding quickly, but it's also important to try to get the interaction flowing. The more people are commenting, as I've just said, liking and sharing your posts, the more people they're going to be shown to. So do try and generate some, questions, maybe polls, questions about images that you post. Ask people if they like them. If you've got products, you could do, like, if you're doing something in 2 different colors, ask people which color they prefer. The shortest, quickest answers they can put on there, the more chance you've got that people will, respond. They'll say yes or no or whatever. So that's just some different ways of approaching it and getting people to really comment. Now, Facebook also allows you to add milestones, and this can be helpful to give more background to your business. So, for example, you can add in when you were founded, you could add in your 1,000th sale, anything that you feel is important and adds to your brand's message. If you're a bigger business and you have employees, you could add when they joined the company. Anything that you think is, something important that's happened for your business. You could even add in, anniversaries, sales events, fairs, publications, all sorts of things there. Now, you can even ask your fans to submit their own milestones about how your brand has helped them in their life. So, for example, a piece of jewelry worn at a wedding, or for a pet sitter, the first time that you walked that person's dog. It's just to try and get people to respond. Now, this helps to make your audience feel included. And if you then add them as a milestone with images, it's a great reminder to others of what your business does well. So obviously, if somebody's posting an image of their dog, they're happy for you to use that. So you can't just go and, take stuff that's kind of outside the realm. It's got to be that they're stepping forward with it. But what you can do on your status update is for, to say that you'd like to add some audience milestones in, and say, if you've worked with me, however you've interacted in your business, if you bought, some earrings that you wore for your wedding, tell me about it, and, send a picture. And that's a really nice way of generating some excitement about things that have happened for your audience as well, and making people feel included. Now, the other thing you can do with your audience and your followers is to give a shout out or a thank you to new fans. So you can see, as people like your page, And also comment, obviously. You could even have a fan of the month by looking at who comments the most often and either give them a mention or a little prize. And this encourages others to engage more. Now, obviously, if you're only just starting up, I'm aware that some of these things might seem impossible because it's quite slow going at the beginning when you're putting your status updates and there's kind of tumbleweeds going past. So don't think, oh, I'm never going to get to that point. There will come a point where people do start to interact. And if you've already got a thriving page, this can be quite a nice way to just encourage people to come onto your page more often and comment and stuff like that. Now, there are a couple of paid options. Likes or engagement. Right. So I've just had a question. Can you explain what is more important, likes or engagement or clicks to the website? Well, I suppose that's a difficult one to answer. When you're trying to build up your page engagement, it's very true that you do want to get likes for the page because then it becomes more likely that people will see your status updates going forward. And ultimately, the more engagement that you get, the more likes, comments, and shares, the more people will see your status updates, the more likely it is that they will pop over and like your page. So that is a very key element to it. However, that said, ultimately, the purpose of social media is to drive traffic back to your website. So you don't own social media, you don't own your profile, you don't own your Facebook page. So that's why I always say to people, social media is fantastic for promotion, but ultimately you want a website and you want to be building a mailing list because those two things are actually yours. Whatever happens to any of the social media platforms, if they change their algorithms, if they cease to exist, if anyone thinks back to the one that went out that disappeared, I can't think what it's called now. But things do change and it does become more difficult. So ultimately you want to be driving people back to your website. However, the more engagement you can get on your page, the more likely it is that more people will see you and click through to your page. So I don't know if that's really answered the question, but it's kind of chicken and egg in a way. You need more things. So I would try and kind of work on all of those things at the same time if you can. Okay, so another couple of things I want to just go in. Now, these are paid things. So if you don't mind paying for something on your page, then you can use the create offer button. And this can give discounts to fans of your page. So you could do sort of a 20% off a sale or something like that. If you had a digital product, you can click in there that if people go through a certain link, they get a percentage off. But you do have to pay for the offer for Facebook to put it out there. It's a little bit like the Facebook advertising or the boosting of your page. Now you can put a limit on it. So you say, $10 worth or $5 worth. But I just wanted to mention it in case anyone has something that would be helpful for. Now, the other thing you can do is you can create events. You don't need to pay for these, so unless you want to promote them more widely. But if you're just creating the event, it's free. Now, this could be for offline events where you tell people about a sort of a showing at a local gallery, which is really good for local businesses. You're having a special evening in your restaurant or something like that, where you get, I don't know, 2 meals for the price of one or something. Or it could be an online event such as a marketplace, a meeting, or even a Q&A session if you offer services. So once you've created an event, it gets a timeline of its own, and you can also then invite friends to it, and they can see the updates in the lead up to the event, and that comes out in their status update. So it's well worth doing that if you've got something that you really want to create a buzz about. So the next thing I want to talk about is interacting and networking on Facebook. So a really good place to garner some attention for your page and therefore your business is to interact in Facebook groups. Now you need to choose ones which are relevant to your niche or your location. If you're a local business, there's lots of them for, your city, your county or state, things like that. So these will often have Facebook like ladders in them. Don't know if you've seen that, where you can leave a link to your page and then get other relevant people liking you. Some of them are a free for all and you can advertise your business on any day. Some of them have a specific day of the week where you can mention your business or an offer. But the important thing is at the beginning is to give, value when you first go into these groups. They're a really good way to network, to share more about your business, to connect with other people, and then to ultimately drive people back to your page. And that's why I say it's important to have a link to your page in your profile, because that's the only thing that people will be able to see in groups. So do some research for your keyword, your location, and then narrow the search down by groups. When you search in the box at the top of the page, so say you said, interest in Canterbury, UK, then you can, when the search comes up, you can narrow it down by people, places, and groups. So you want to choose the group one and then just have a look through. Just make sure that they're fairly active, the groups. They've got a good number of people in them. It doesn't have to be hundreds and thousands, but it's got to be big enough that it's worth your while, and also that, people didn't just comment 3 weeks ago and nobody's been in there since. Now, another thing that works very well depending on your niche, but is particularly good for service or informational-based businesses, is to create a Facebook group of your own. So if anyone wants to join, I've actually got a free marketing one, and I'll add a link to the download. So if anyone wants to join that one and kind of see what goes on in there, you can leave links to your business and stuff like that. So if you want to set up your own, all you need to do is go down the left-hand side where the little group section is and say create group. And you just walk through. It's pretty much like setting up a page. It's fairly easy to do. Now, the other thing you can do is to switch how you comment on other people's pages. So this is moving away from groups, going back to pages now, because in groups, you can only interact as your profile. So you can see there on the screen, there's the image pointing to the little drop down arrow. It's very difficult to see because it's kind of grayed out there. But if you click on that, you can switch between acting as your own profile or commenting as your own page. So that can be quite good to look around at other pages in your niche and to like them, or related niches. It doesn't have to be direct competitors. It could be, if you're a wedding photographer, you go and look at other wedding cake makers and things like that. You can leave some valuable comments on their pages. And in that way, if they're genuine, really nice comments, or they add value, they're asking questions and you're answering questions, adding value in that way, it's likely that some people will click through and check your page out. Now, that could be the owner of the page itself that you're commenting on, or it could just be other people that see your comment on the page. So I'm not talking about creating a status update on that page, because that sort of drops down to the left-hand side of the page. You can put a status update on somebody else's page, but it doesn't appear in the timeline. It appears in the little section bottom left. Doesn't always garner a huge amount of attention, but if somebody on their page has put a status update and you comment on it, that can be a good way to get seen. Now, for local businesses, make sure you take advantage of check-ins, so that if people are in your store or restaurant, they can share that with their friends, because they just mention that they're at your business and they mention your page. So then all their friends will see your page. So that's a good way. And I'm going to include some info on that in the checklist that I'm sending out. Okay, now this is a really valuable way of getting more people to like your page. So when you put a status update out and a lot of people like that particular post, they might like that post but not actually like your page, because they may have seen it on a friend's timeline, someone might have shared it, they've clicked like on the status update, but they don't really know any more about your page. Now, what you can see here on the screen, that image is pointing to below a status update. You can see a lot of people liked that status update, and you need to get to a point where it says "and so many others." If it's just like 2 or 3 people's names, you can't do it. But if once it says "so many others," click on that and it will bring up a list of all the people that have liked that status update. Next to it, you'll see an invite button. You'll either see they've already liked your page or you'll see the invite button. Click on the invite and that will invite that person to like your page. Now, the good thing about this is they've already interacted on something on your page, so they've got some visibility of you because obviously your status update's got your page name on it. Also, they're interested in things that are in your niche, so whatever they've commented on, whatever they've liked, it's because it's of interest to them. So they're a good fit for your page. I've increased the likes to my page quite substantially by doing this regularly. It's not something you can do once and then forget about. You need to go through your page quite often. And if you do get status updates that get a lot of interaction, just click on there and invite all the people. Obviously, not everybody will like the page, but a good percentage I find do. Again, I'm going to put a link to a video in the checklist that actually explains that in more detail. So if that didn't really make sense to what I just said. So I've just had a question. When I do that, I see invite other people, but nothing to click on. Are you doing that on a desktop PC or are you doing it from a phone? Because it doesn't seem to work on mobiles. It only seems to work from desktop applications for the invite to come up. Oh, okay. So next to their name, there's an invite button, but you can't click on it. Is that right? Hmm. Um, I don't know. That's the answer to that. There should be. It seems strange that the invite button is there, but you can't click on it. Is it grayed out? If it's grayed out slightly, that means that you've already invited them, I think. But if it's a full-on invite button, you should be able to click on it. Okay, if you send it to, let me just send that to you. Oops. To help if I could type, wouldn't it? Oh, I'm sending it to you. The @ is missing because for some reason on this system it won't let me type it. So it's awood.woodmills@gmail.com. No problem. Okay, but I'll also be sending you a link to the video. So if you want to have a quick look through that, if that makes any difference. And also I'll have a look at your screenshot when you send it over. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about is images do really, really well on Facebook. I think it's something like 87% of everything that gets shared on Facebook is an image. So there's lots of ways that you can create really nice shareable images. I have got a free PicMonkey course if that helps you create them. Things like quotes, things like, images related to your business. You can put your URL link at the bottom. It won't actually be a clickable link, but it will say your website address. And it's just a way of people, getting more exposure to you and your business. So they're well worth doing. And I'll send you a link to that free course. Now, the other thing that is valuable is to find out about your audience. So a good place to start looking is in the Facebook Insights section. And you can find it out there a lot more about your audience's demographics, and also when they're most likely to be on your page and what updates have caused the most interaction. So things like whether they're more male, female, the countries they're coming from, the days of the week, the times of the day that they're on your page. And then you can try and cater a few more. You can schedule some updates to go out at those particular times that tend to be more popular with your audience. And it will depend on your audience. You can't say that for everybody it's the same. Some people are more likely to be on when they're at work. Others, types of businesses, maybe they're looking, when the children are in bed or in that gap between picking up from school, things like that. So there's all sorts of permutations. So look at your actual insights and see what's most popular for your page. Now, also keep an eye on your insights to track the growth of your page, as if you set goals, it often becomes easier to grow your page. So you can just, keep checking back, see how you're doing, how your likes are growing, things like that. And you can also, there's a way that you can actually watch some other people's pages. So if there's got some people that you really admire or competitors, you can add them to your pages to watch section. And this allows you to see some of their key metrics, including the number of their posts, their engagement rates, and their new page likes. And that will help you to see what is and isn't working for them, and maybe give you a new insight on your own business. So if you see them do something that works particularly well, garners a lot of attention, maybe it's worth you trying. I'm not talking about copying. I'm not talking about you going and doing the same thing. But, if there's a page that you really admire, maybe they try certain things and you can try some of those things out too. I'm not talking about the content itself. I'm talking about just the way they approach things. Now, you can also ask questions, run polls, and through these means, you can find out a lot more about what your audience enjoys and also what they want from you as a business. And again, you can do things like SurveyMonkey. You can create short surveys in Google Forms that are completely free. You can just run a quick poll actually on the page itself. So, if you're thinking of offering a service, and you could say, do you prefer A, B, or C? And get people to respond in that way. It's just a quick kind of straw poll of what people are looking for. But it's a good way of getting interaction, and it's a good way of learning more about your audience. Okay, so lastly, now as with all the social media sites, consistency is so important. Try to put out at least one status update a day, maybe 2 or 3 if you can. And these should be a mixture of your own content and that of others in relevant niches. Now, I tend to stick to the kind of 80-20 rule. So for every, one salesy status update you put out sort of 4 or 5 other just related informational things, things from other people's pages, things from blog posts that you've read, things like that. You don't want to be salesy all the time, but by the same token, don't be afraid to put those offers and those products out there. I think sometimes people shy away from it too much and they're never actually getting any of their products out there. If people enjoy hearing from your business, they are going to want to be given the opportunity to purchase from you. So just try and strike a balance between those two things. The other thing to say is don't send out updates one after after another, as this can decrease your visibility in the timeline. Therefore, either schedule posts or use, you can schedule them straight onto the Facebook page, or use a scheduling tool such as Hootsuite or Buffer. Sometimes you see a lot of things that you think, oh, I want to send that, I want to send that. Something like Buffer allows you to queue them so they only go out certain times during the day. Because if you start putting posts out very close together, Facebook will see that as spamming and automatically decrease your visibility in the timeline. And you don't want that to happen, so spread them out nicely through the day. And also, don't get discouraged if your page isn't growing quickly, as it does take time, particularly when you're just starting out. To get to that first 100, that first 200, 500, 1,000, it does take some effort. It does take some concerted effort to keep getting people back to the page. So don't get discouraged. Just keep taking small steps every day with different things that I've talked about now, and different things that you try in your business, and you will get there eventually. And also, the other thing to say is, sometimes people think they have to have thousands and thousands of followers to make it worthwhile. That's not necessarily true if you've got a very engaged audience. If you've grown your site, your Facebook page organically, you've done it through the best means. You've not done it through, buying 1,000 followers or spammy methods or anything like that. If you've grown it organically, people are interested in what you've got. It sometimes only takes a fairly small group of people to still be making sales from that page. So don't kind of be too hard on yourself if you see somebody else and they've got 50,000 followers and you're still struggling along on 150. The people on your page are still interested in what you've got to offer. So just take it slow and steady, and you will get there eventually. As long as you're moving forward and you're making progress, and if the people on your page are interacting with you, there is a much higher likelihood of them sharing you with their friends and even making a purchase. And that's true whether you've got 10,000 people or 100 people on there. So as I always say with social media, whichever profile, just keep on keeping on and being consistent. So in a second, we're going to have a quick Q&A session in case there's anything else that you want to go over. But I just also want to quickly mention the launch of my book tomorrow, which is quite exciting. It's exciting for me. It might not be as exciting for you. But if you've enjoyed the content that's in this webinar, this kind of just walks you through different profiles. So it talks about a stress-free way of approaching social media. Social media really needs to be something that you enjoy doing, and there shouldn't be a reason that you don't enjoy it. It's quite social, but also you can tailor it to play to your strengths in a way. So if you're quite a visual person, you don't have to be out there doing videos. You can do images, or if you're a text-based person, you can tailor it that way. I do walk through the key sites. I walk through Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, getting yourself set up on all of those. And I also walk through a social media strategy and some goal setting and analytics and things like that. So if that's of interest, I'm just going to pop. It's not actually available until tomorrow, but you can pre-order it today and it will be sent out to you tomorrow. Just leave a quick link to that. Okay, so let me just click through. So any more questions? Has anything I've said not made sense? Right. So next question is, how important do you feel reviews are? Do you mean putting reviews on your Facebook page itself, or reviews on your website? Oh, you mean the reviews section that's on your Facebook page? Yeah. I suppose if are you a local business? I think if you're a local business, it can be quite important because I think it's helpful. I think whatever type of business that you have, Okay. So do most of your customers come from the local area near to you, or are they, but yeah, okay. So yeah, if you're a local business, I do think yes, it is quite helpful, because I think people often check that out first. Um, is it that people just are um, not leaving reviews? Because sometimes people, they're just not very good at doing that. Is it hard to get some interaction on that side of it? Okay. I mean, if you don't want to have it, if you don't feel comfortable with having it there, you find people are pretty kind of apathetic about filling them out, then take it down. I really don't think it's the end of the world if it's not there. However, if you've got loads of, 5 stars and it looks fantastic, then obviously that's a positive. But I really think if you don't have it there, people are not going to be turned off necessarily. So if you're having to really push them, yeah, that you see, that's another thing that I get concerned about, is that you can just get people that are maybe your competitors and they leave negative reviews and things like that. So if you don't feel comfortable with it, I would take it down. I really don't think it's going to cause you any detriment if you take it down. I mean, obviously, I'm not speaking directly. I can't make a complete judgment on that. I'm talking quite broadly, but my general feeling would be, to me, it wouldn't make any difference if I went to a page and it didn't have reviews there. What I would do is I would click through to that person's website and I would get a feel from it. If you've got testimonials on your website and you take them from Google or you take them direct from clients, to me, that would be more, I would put more store in those than I would what was being put in front of me on Facebook, I guess I'm saying. So I hope that answers the questions. Periscope. Periscope, I like Periscope. I did one. I haven't done any more since that point, but that's more from a perspective of time, to be honest. I think if you got some value to add and you approach them in quite a systematic way, so you go on to the Periscope, presumably you're asking from a point of view of you want to run a Periscope. I think go into it very clearly with a subject area that you want to talk about. You need to try and get your voice out there. You need to be connecting with people on Twitter. So if you've got quite a good audience on Twitter, it can be a good way to garner a fresh audience. Yes, I do have a feeling that the Periscope demographic is younger. Um, I don't know. Facebook is I think Facebook is quite a wide audience. It might be well worth you going into your insights on Facebook and seeing what your audience demographic is in terms of age. Are you looking for a younger demographic or an older demographic? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes, I think probably Periscope. Blab is another new one. They might be oh, okay. Cool. Um yes, Periscope. Have you tried Instagram? That would probably be quite a good place. Yeah, pets and things like that do pretty well on there. Pinterest, yes. Um, do you feel confident in doing a Periscope? I mean, is it something that interests you? If you feel confident about, yeah, I would go for it then, because I think you will come across a new audience. You might have to time your periscopes though for, say, the evenings when your audience is likely to be home. Um, Yeah, so you might have to time it when you think people are going to be around to be able to watch the Periscope, because if you're looking for people that are at work during the day, they're probably not going to have time to watch Periscope at that time. So you might want to catch them in the evenings, on weekends. Have a fairly fixed time that you try and get people to tune in to you. So I would just try it, see how you get on, but have a topic to talk about. I think the problem is sometimes people get on there and then, I'm not saying you would do this, but sometimes people get on there and then they're not quite sure what to talk about. But you could have a Q&A session, you could have like a dog care session, you could have if they got any questions for you about your services. But just in case, people don't always ask questions straight off the bat, so it might be a good idea just to have a topic to talk about at the beginning, even if then you open it up to questions afterwards. And Blab, you can actually connect with other people on there, so you could. Oh, okay, brilliant. On Instagram, on Periscope. Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's good. Yeah, definitely. Then, if you're already building up followers, then that's definitely the way to go. Make sure you just publicize them across your social media as well. Did I miss any other question? Did you say something else? Oh no, it was reviews, wasn't it? Reviews and Periscope. Yes. um, yes. I just obviously have to bear in mind that people will be listening to this on the recording as well, though. So that's why I'm reading the questions out. That's all right. Is there any other? It's good to have some questions because things like this come up, for example, Periscope and stuff that, I haven't covered before. So it's a really good way of just introducing those things. Is there any more questions? I'm going to shy now. No more questions. Okay, brilliant. Well, obviously, I said I mentioned the marketing group. So if anyone's listening on the recording and you have got a question that's come up from this that hasn't been answered, then just pop into the free Facebook group. You can leave your question there and I'll answer it in there. There will be a lot of links coming out in the questionnaire. There will be a link to my book coming out. So I do hope some of you buy that. And I'll see you. There's also a Pinterest marketing one tomorrow, Saturday. So do sign up. Oh, thank you. You're very welcome. Yes, Pinterest tomorrow. So you might want to be on that one. Or if you can't make it, there's a recording coming out if anyone wants to be on that. And you can sign up from my Cartwheels Across the Sky Facebook page if you haven't seen that. Brilliant. Thanks so much. And I'll either catch you tomorrow or I'll catch you on the next webinar. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.